This is wrong. You don't talk about these things. Astaghfirullah. Say astaghfirullah. He's like, wow. Fine, I guess you don't want to talk about it. I'll just talk to my friends about it then. And you know what you just did? You basically told them, if you have something that is of this nature, of a controversial nature, don't talk to me about it. But does that mean they'll not talk about it at all? They will talk to someone, and who's it going to be? Their friends. Most of the time they're non-Muslim friends, from whom they will get non-Muslim kinds of advice. You close the doors to communication. And me being from the background I am, my ancestry is Afghan. So I have a hot temper. So my daughter came home one day, preschool. My daughter was in preschool, but we have this, we're very possessive of our daughters, you know. So she comes home and she says, you know, Ahmed was so funny in class today. I was like, who's Ahmed? And my wife says to me, calm down, let me talk to her. You go away, you can't handle this. And she talks to me, it was nothing, he just fell off the chair, she was saying it was funny. It's very innocent. But if she hears, my dad really gets upset when he hears the name Ahmed or, you know, Sharif or whatever, you know, so I better not bring it up. I better not tell my parents what happened at school, then I've shut the doors of communication. I've made that mistake. And a lot of parents made that mistake and they're paying price now. And they're listening to this and they're shedding tears because they're remembering the mistakes they made. They really are. But let's switch gears quickly, inshallah, and talk a little bit about marriage. The other fundamental, the core component of a healthy society. We cannot talk about da'wah. We cannot talk about establishing a harmonious Islamic society until we have a harmony inside the household. But our households are the places of chaos. How are we talking about higher ideals in da'wah when our homes are broken? Husband and wife are arguing every day. Sarcasm inside the house. Nasty commentary towards each other. You know, you're really not that pretty. Or you don't know Yusuf alayhi salam yourself. You don't see me cutting my hands. You know. Unnecessary sarcasm. Unnecessary hurtful commentary towards each other. Hurtful words to it. And you know, a lot of times you know exactly what's going to annoy your wife. And you do it anyway. And a lot of times the women, they know exactly what's going to get under his skin. And they'll say it anyway. Just to see what happens. Right? And who's watching all of this? While you're doing this to each other. These word games you're playing with each other. And this battle inside the house. Who's watching? Who's the real victim? The children. The children are learning this behavior. What kind of parents are they going to be when they grow up? There's no sense of forgiveness inside the marriage. You know, the Muslim man, a lot of you who work in the public sphere and corporate or whatever else, you'll go to work, your secretary, highly inappropriately dressed, is smiling at you. How's it going, Muhammad? How's your day? And like, it was pretty good, yeah, and you're having like 5-minute conversations with the secretary. You come home, the wife says, how was your day? I don't want to talk about it, I had a long day at work. This is what we're doing inside our homes. Ruining our own relationships with our spouses. When was the last time, ask the brothers. I'm not in a position to speak on behalf of the sisters because I'm not one. They should be getting advice from sisters. But let me I'll get on your case for a minute. On my own. When was the last time you got her a gift, man? When was the last, you took her out to the bazaar over there and she picked something like, no, put that back. When was the last time you got her something? Without her asking. When was the last time you hung out with her? Just took her out for some ice cream for no reason. They don't ask for much. They also just ask for your time. They only ask for your time. Wallahi, there are sisters who complain to me, and I couldn't believe my ears. They complain to me that they haven't seen their husbands forever because when they come home, they sit on the computer and just YouTube away the whole night. And they haven't seen, they're crying. It's like we're not even married anymore. Get off the computer, man. You have a wife, you have children to deal with. That's your priority. What are you sitting there listening to? What Islam is that? You know, I was late to this lecture. I was supposed to be here at 10 o'clock, I got here at 10:25. You know why? I was stuck at you know how crazy the elevator is in the Marriott? I was there because I had to deliver burgers to my kids. How am I going to come here and give a lecture about relations with family and my kids are hungry? It's okay, I'll be late. I'll deliver the burgers first. We have to be courteous to our family. We have to be the best to them. The Messenger tells us, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, خَيْرُكُمْ خَيْرُكُمْ لِأَهْلِهِ وَأَنَا خَيْرٌ مِّنْكُمْ لِأَهْلِي. The best of you are the best to their families. Who can actually claim, I'm my best self to my family? You guys are so much nicer to your friends, So much nicer to your coworkers. So much more courteous to the police officer who pulls you over. But you cannot extend that kind of courtesy to your mother? You can't talk to her for 10 extra minutes? As the moment she starts getting a little annoying and starts telling you all the things you don't do right, you say, I gotta go, I got another phone call? Can't talk right now? Listen to her. Sit there and listen to her. This is what you're supposed to do. That's your job. She didn't do that with you. I can't hear you're crying right now. Go in the other room, shut it, deal with it yourself. Your mother carried you. She took care of you. We have to be the best to our spouses. We have to be the best to our parents. These are fundamentals in relationships. And by the way, all the other relationships get fixed if these two are fixed. And these two, the only way they'll be fixed is your relationship with Allah is fixed. So if you have marriage problems and parental problems, you know what the real problem is? Taqwa and Iman. You're not grateful enough. Your spouse is a gift of Allah to you. And to be ungrateful to a gift is to be ungrateful to Allah Azza wa Jal. Your parents are a gift of Allah to you. So if you don't have a good relationship with them, who are you actually being ungrateful to? Think about that. Think about that, subhanallah. I urge you seriously, start having dinner with the family. Don't eat by yourself. Don't eat at a separate time. Make a time. Make at least one. I'm not demanding too much from you at all. Seriously, make small commitments. Set a time in the day where the whole family gets together and prays together. And it's a set time. Just like there's a set time for the TV show, and there's a set time for homework, and there's a set time for you get back to work, there's a set time we pray Maghrib together. There's a set time we pray Isha. Well, just one prayer at least. You get together with the family and you pray together. You pray together. That in and of itself is huge. It's enormous. You could at least do this much. Just start with this, inside the house, and you will begin to see a better relationship with your wife and your children, The final comment I want to make before you, inshallah ta'ala, is about balance. And this is a long discussion. I'll open it, but I'll leave you to think about it. One time the Messenger, alayhi salatu wasalam, was asked about what Islam is. What is this deen? So he has to give a brief answer. He has to sum up the entire religion in very brief language. And he chose this ayah from Surah An-Nisa. Just one ayah, which summarizes the entire deen. And what ayah is this? إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَأْمُرُكُمْ أَن تُؤَدُّوا الْأَمَانَاتِ إِلَىٰ أَهْلِهَا. It is no doubt Allah who commands you to fulfill the rights of people, the trusts that have been given to you, to give them back in full to those who deserve them. People have a right over you, people have entrusted you with something, and you should fulfill it completely. That is what Allah commands you. وَإِذَا حَكَمْتُمْ بَيْنَ النَّاسِ أَن تَحْكُمُوا بِالْعَدْلِ. And whenever you make decisions between people, make those decisions with justice. Make them with justice. Now, I won't even go through the rest of the ayah. Let me tell you something. Especially to the men and those who are responsible, the shepherds of the household. You are pulled in different directions. The deen is pulling you. Your job is pulling you. Your wife is pulling you. Children are pulling you. Your parents are pulling you. You have all these obligations to all these different things. And sometimes your mother asks you to do something which will be a violation of your wife's rights. And your wife will ask you to do something that will be a violation of your mother's rights. And there's a battle going on, and who's stuck in the middle? Who's taking the beating? On one phone call with the wife, the other with the mother, and who's in the middle? The husband. And a lot of times what ends up happening is either he sides this way or he sides that way. So what we have to be? We have to be just. We have to be the nicest, the kindest to our parents, but we cannot lose the side of justice. You don't have the right to violate the rights of your wife. Allah didn't give you that right. No, you cannot fulfill somebody else's obligations at the expense of somebody else's. You cannot do that. Your children have a right over you. Nothing can take that away. You will be answerable to Allah for not fulfilling the rights of your children. You have an obligation to your spouse. You have an obligation to your parents. And each of them are separate spheres. Don't confuse them with each other. You have a tough job. You signed up for it. You're the one who wanted to get married. You signed up for it already. So you better learn to deal with it. This is a balance you'll have to establish. And wallahi, if you don't establish that balance, in your house there will be chaos. There will be fighting all the time. There will be fighting between in-laws and children and husband and wife and all kinds of craziness in your home because you haven't learned how to balance yet. You haven't learned how to fulfill your obligations yet. And the role of the spouses, the wives, is to help their husbands find a balance, not just to fulfill their agenda, because they will be answerable to Allah as well. They're supposed to support their husbands and help them. Stop being sarcastic towards each other. Stop complaining about each other. Just do your part. Don't expect from your wife, don't expect from your husband, expect from Allah. Just do what you're supposed to do. What you deserve will come from Allah, will not come from your spouse. Get over it. Stop whining and stop complaining. The moment you start complaining, you are already not taking into consideration all the good things Allah has given you, and this is what I conclude with. How many things has Allah given us that we should be grateful for? How many things has Allah given us that we should be grateful for? We can't count. We can't even count one ni'mah. وَإِن تَعُدُّوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ mufrad, singular. If you were to try to count one ni'mah of Allah, one blessing of Allah, you would not be able to encompass it. Allah's favors are countless upon us. So if you find the time to complain, that means you didn't have enough time to thank Allah for so many things that you have enough time to complain about things. This is the height of ingratitude. It's the height of ingratitude. When someone starts complaining, quit complaining. Quit complaining. If you have problems, learn to be grateful to Allah first and have sabr. The key to sabr is being grateful to Allah. And if you don't have patience, it means you're not grateful enough. Really, if you don't have patience, the secret is you're not grateful to Allah enough. You open up the fridge, there's 10 different kinds of soda, you say, where's the orange juice? God, I told you to get it! You're not grateful enough for what you have in front of you. We have to learn to be grateful. We have to teach our children gratitude. We have to teach them to be grateful for what Allah has given them. We have to make them children that are used to giving, not getting. We're making them consumers. We're making them zombies. Get me this, get me that, get me this, get me that. If they're like this when they're children, what are they going to be like when they're adults? How is it a shock then that they're going to be fighting over the inheritance when they get older? When they're like this, you take them to Toys R Us yourself so they can cry about all the $2 million worth of merchandise that you still left behind after you left the store. Right? We're doing that to our own children. We have to get our act together. These are not high and holy things. These are basics that form the foundation of healthy relationships. Let's educate each other about them. Let's make a serious commitment to raise the right kind of family. Let's fix ourselves. Let's spend time with our family together. Let's make that our first priority. Wallahi, if the family is good, the community is okay. And all the problems you see in the community, you know they're not community problems. They start with family problems. Let's fix those first. May Allah Azza wa Jal make us of those who are able to save themselves and their families from the hellfire. May Allah Azza wa Jal make us of those who are able to be patient, the most patient with their own family, be the most merciful to their own family, the most forgiving to their own family, and may Allah make us of those who are able to reconnect the bonds that have been cut because of fighting and disputes and arguments. May we become those who make the call back and say, you know what, no more silence. I'm going to call my dad back. So what if we had a fight 6 months ago? I'll call him back today after this conference. At least that's one promise I make to Allah. I will reconnect those relationships. I will go apologize to my wife for what I said. I'll go apologize to my husband for what I did. I will fix myself now because this is what I owe to Allah Azza wa Jal. May Allah make us of those people. May Allah Azza wa Jal forgive our shortcomings. Barakallahu li wa lakum. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.